Hello there, my friends. Hello there, my friends. Hello there, my friends. Hello there, my friends. Welcome back to the Agostinho Zinga Show with your host, Agostinho Zinga. And this is episode number 773. That is Siete Tres with your illustrious, your wonderful, your happy to be here host. Agostinho Zinga, coughing all the way because I've got coffee in my throat and maybe my allergies are playing up. Who knows? Who bloody knows? So what's going on, people? How you all been? Hope you all well wherever you may be. I'm feeling flipping fine. I'm feeling flipping dandy. I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to roll. Weekend is fast approaching. I'm sure most of you guys are eagerly anticipating your weekend, end of the week. You're hating this week. I've never really been a big week person, to be completely honest, or day person. I think every day is a flipping blessing. Even though I'm somebody that can come across a bit cynical, a little bit kind of half glass, half glass full type of half glass empty type of guy. I still feel like when it comes to days, I approach them all the same. If anything, I've always been in love with Mondays. Mondays have always been my day. They've always been my time to kind of reset, recharge, and to kind of correct course. And I think that kind of started because of my time raving, right? My time going out in Dalston, my time being out in Shoreditch, my time being out in Hackney Wick warehouse raves, and all that malarkey. If you were there, you'll know what I'm going, you know what I'm talking about. But back then, I was going super hard in the paint. I was going out, Wednesday to Sunday most weeks. I was DJing most weekends of those weeks, on top of drinking, on top of doing, untold amounts of other stuff and just going crazy. And I think the reason why I started to love Mondays because I saw Mondays as a chance to turn a new leaf. Usually you're kind of, quasi sober, I'm gonna be a good boy kind of thing only lasts a couple of days anyway. If you're a real party boy, if you're a real raver, you know Wagwan. It doesn't last super long, but it still makes you feel good that you've got some level of control, because some of the things I think that probably lead people to going down the sobriety route is because they feel like they don't have control over this vice that they have, right? They feel like the vice kind of takes control over their life and they can't just enjoy and dabble things. I think, again, maybe I'm fooling myself with this. Maybe there is a functioning addict type of vibe going on there, but I think because I was able to get control of my Monday, because I was able to kind of steer my own ship in the beginning of the week, because I was able to reset, because I wasn't craving another flipping another pill, another line or something, another drink, it made me feel as if, okay, cool, I've got control of it, I can kind of go on. And to be fair as well, it worked out pretty well. I'm very fortunate in that because I grew up in a very conservative Christian household with very strict African parents. We weren't allowed to do anything, right? Even going out was a problem. Like going out, staying out late, coming back at home past 12 would cause so many beef, so many arguments in the house. But now looking back, I thank my parents for it. I'm not gonna lie, because that kept me out of so much trouble, and it gave me a balance, so that now, even though I do dabble in some stuff, it's not as crazy as everybody else, because I've had so many years where I haven't done it. Now doing it when you're kind of, because I've always said before, like I had my first beer, I had my first legit beer, and this will make you laugh, at like an art gallery thing. Like, I don't know if you guys, wherever you guys are at, but in London, we have these like Thursday open view type of things, right? No, Thursday private view things. So art galleries in London will have private views where essentially if a new exhibition's launching, they'll do like a private view for special guest or whatever, but it's just generally open to the public, but it's a chance for you to preview the collection before everybody else sees it, the exhibition, sorry. And usually the artist will be there, and that's the whole culture and infrastructure and scene around that. And those extend to store openings, they extend to collaboration. Like imagine if a store has a collaboration that they're going to launch in store, like of shoes or of a jacket or something, they'll launch it on a Thursday or a Wednesday during the week, and they'll have it will be usually after hours, so it'll be after the shop is closed. They'll reopen it again from 7 till 9 or something, and they'll have beers or they'll have drinks, and usually the drink sponsor will be some shitty beer or liquor brand that's trying to get their kind of foot in the market and trying to connect with the youth and whatever it may be. So it'd have different types of them. And we had one particular place that we'd always go to called Protein Studios, which was in Shoreditch. And Protein Studios was owned by this agency called Protein, who had different clients that they kind of handle. And they do different sort of like launches and private view things in their studio / office space. And I honestly say this without shame, even though I should be shameful about this. My first drink might have been at a Protein Studios event, or my first drink might have been at the Macbeth. the Macbeth in London, I don't know if it's no, sorry, not Macbeth, the Old Blue Last, sorry, the Old Blue Last in Shoreditch as well was one of the premier sort of like indie alternative band type of venue places to go to, and they would also have you know, gigs with like up and coming bands, or they'd have like promotions tied with like Vans or like NME or something to do with that, right? And I think again, my first drink might have been either at the Old Blue Last or at Protein Studios, but it came super late. I must have been like 21, 22 or something along those kind of lines. So imagine having your first beer at that time. Maybe the first, you know, drug has happened maybe a couple of years or a year after that. So by the time I started to really get into it, a lot of my friends kind of got out of it. You know what I mean? So I think growing up in a very conservative, strict, rule-based household saved me, because by the time I started to get into it, it was really too late. And, you know, most of my friends already kind of got bored, because most regular people who have family that don't kind of, you know, deny them the ability to kind of grow and learn things outside, whatever, actual latchkey kids. I know a lot of people, especially some of my friends who are from Scotland and stuff, who I bumped into at the rave scene. Some of my friends that grew up in like rural areas, like outside of like major cities, have said that they started drinking and doing drugs when they were like, you know, early teens, like 13 and 14 and shit. I'm like, wow. But obviously those people are either there's two camps. If you started doing stuff when you were in your early teens, from what I can see, either you quit already now because you're bored of it, or you got sober, or you're still doing it and you're an absolute mess. You know what I mean? Because you've been doing it for so long. But most of the people that I know kind of got over it, hanged up their partying hat. I think some of you guys even sometimes talk to me in the chat when I'm streaming and stuff, and you tell me, oh, how weird I am for still like raving and being into partying and stuff. And a lot of people are like, yeah, I don't do that at all. Like a lot of people tell me all the time, like they get bored when I talk about the raving stuff, because that's just something they don't connect with in the slightest. They don't give a crap about raves. They don't care about techno. They don't care about DJs. The last time they've been to a party, they can't even remember. And, you know, which makes sense, because again, I kind of came into it late, so it kind of makes sense why I'm still maybe holding on to it. But I feel like the reason why I'm holding on to it legitimately anyway, outside of maybe holding on to my, you know, dwindling youth, is most to do with just me loving the scene, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think I've kind of noticed, you know, I will go to clubs sober and not drinking, even though it's the worst thing to ever do. I don't recommend it to anybody to go to a nightclub not doing anything, because, you know, you're around flipping legit ghouls. But I do enjoy it. So I think the fact that I leave my house willingly and cycle to a nightclub to go see a DJ play for an hour or two, and then cycle back home like it's nothing, that means I'm in it for the love. Do you know what I mean? I'm not in it just to get caned and get smashed, which is fine. But it's just interesting to see a lot of my friends, especially in my social circle, basically hang up their raving hats, hang up their partying hats, hang up their drinking hats, their druggers hats, whatever, because they started at a normal age. I'm not too sure what I would do if I had kids, whether or not I'd want my kids to grow up the way I did, or whether or not I'd want my kids to grow up the way my friends did. I'm not too sure. I'm not sure what the best route is to kind of make sure that you sort of, you know, that you have a functioning, well-adjusted adult, you know, that you can kind of leave alone to their own devices. Because I could have been in all manners of, like, the amount of times I was, you know, outside sleeping at a bus stop, laying in some street, you know, like bad things could have happened to me. But I'm lucky because I'm a big black dude and I'm not a girl or anything, so obviously nothing, you know, untoward happened. I think so. Anyway, who knows? Maybe somebody did stick their finger up my ass. I don't know. But for the most part, from what I can remember, nothing crazy happened. And I'm just lucky. You know what I mean? I'm lucky because, again, I didn't have much experience drinking or doing anything. And by the time I did it, it was super late. And then when I started doing it, I was playing catch up and I was doing extra. I was being too excited, going crazy. And obviously, you know, I end up in some sticky situations. But overall, I think it's been the benefit for me because I'm not as burned out on the scene as other people. Most people are just like, I don't care. I don't want to go there. Don't mention it to me. This is flipping rubbish. And I understand. I get it. I completely understand why. But, you know, I'm still here fighting the good fight. I'm actually looking forward to the next phase of my life, actually, where legitimately this is going to be one of my kind of things I'm going to do going forward in terms of opening my own club. I've been super, which is weird too, because, you know, being inspired by someone like a Joe Rogan makes no sense because he's in the 1% of the 1%. But the idea of having my own place where I can play, the idea of having my own place that I can program, my own place where I can kind of decorate and set up and design it in a way where I think what would be a great, perfect or one of the best clubs in the world, taking in all my experiences that I've gained from all these different places I've been to and things I want to see, especially considering the voice that, or the kind of vision that I'm kind of seeing it from, and my opinion and what of the scene and where it comes from and stuff. I think it'll be pretty interesting thing to kind of develop and do. So that's definitely one of my long-term plans going forward in terms of doing something. Though outside of all the brand stuff, the magazine stuff, the photography stuff, all that cool stuff I want to do on the side, and obviously DJing by myself. But that's definitely the thing that I'm kind of looking at as a thing that I want to do, because I think that would be flipping amazing, especially in a place like London where there's hardly anything outside of Fold and Venue MOT that's any good. It would be good to have some place where people can kind of, congregate and party with a different aesthetic, with a different sort of like vibe, different sort of booking policy. If anything, I would probably want my place to be, no flipping lineups announced at all, and just basically have people pop in and basically trust the lineup that's going to be there available playing, and obviously kind of go from there. But we'll see how it goes, we'll see how it rocks. But I'm really looking forward to that little side of my life going forward. I really, really, really am. Moving on, I quickly want to talk about this, right? Because this is something that isn't really to do with the Agostinho Zinga show. I normally keep these sort of topics for the random show, which is my premier random show episode podcast stream thing that I do, mostly centered around, talking about comedians and shit and talking about other random news topics. But I thought this related to some of the things I speak about because it involves paying your friends. And I think I've said before on this stream or on this podcast or on other platforms that I'm a big stickler for paying your friends. I think, especially in the scene that I'm in, the art, design, fashion type of scene, whatever it may be, I'm sure some of you guys that aren't in that scene will know what I'm talking about anyway. When you have a friend in your group that has a skill, whether it's carpentry, upholstery, plumbing, electrician, sometimes you can take them for granted by always tapping into them because they know what they're talking about, right? They know how to fix a problem. Oh, my sink is full, my carpet's fucked up. Like, they can always sort you out. But I think just because your friend has a skill, has a knowledge base, doesn't mean you should take advantage of them. You should always pay them. Now, maybe as a friend, you don't need to pay the fucking market rate, but I agree with exchanging legit cash and actual substantial cash. Maybe it's not, imagine if your friend, charges £1,000 to fucking paint a room. Maybe you can give them 500, maybe 450, but don't try and give them £50 or 100 or pay them back in beers or dinner. No. Give them money for their time. Treat them like a friend. Obviously, respect their flipping work, respect their skill, respect their knowledge, respect the time that they learn to learn that thing, whatever it may be, but give them flipping money. I don't agree with this whole like friend, oh, you're my friend, do this thing for free, help me out. No. I've got a skill that I get paid for. This is my job. This is stuff that puts food on this is what puts food on my plate. This is what keeps my family warm and shit. This is what pays my car note. This is what allows me to go on a holiday, allows me to spend money doing the things that I'm gonna do, and don't disrespect it by just giving me crappy flipping fees. But in general, I think this also extends to comedians as well and DJs. Whenever I do my thing, I remember when I was DJing or when I was putting on parties and promoting, especially. And again, I don't take all the credit for it. Big up Miles, who I used to do a party with as well, so special at Yellowby. Me and Miles were always very adamant about paying people. So we do these raves in a basement bar in Dalston called Yellowby, and basically the premise around there is that, I don't know if it's the same way in other places, but essentially what they would do is that at the Yellowby, if you did a party there, they'd say to you, hey, you could do a party here for free, you can have it be free entry, but if it's free entry, it means that you can only take money from the bar after we make 1,000 at the till, and once you make 1,000 at the till, you can then take 10% of that. So if they make 2,000, you'll make 200, and so on and so forth. So it was always quite nerve-wracking, right? When you put on a night, because you were quickly checking, you'd go and ask somebody at the bar who you kind of are friendly with, because usually they wouldn't tell you. So you have to make friends with somebody, and then they let you know, hey, Ag, you're 950 now, you're 972. Do you know what I mean? They kind of let you know while going, and you start to get happy because then you cover your fees. So a lot of people that were putting on nights at Yellowby, because it wasn't that profitable, right? It's a free entry bar. It's only open until 3. People only arrive there at 11. So you don't really have a lot of time to really make money at the bar anyway. People wouldn't really pay their DJs because there's not really a lot of money there. After you've paid for the flyer design, maybe printing up, maybe burning more CDs, there's just not enough money left. But me and Miles were very adamant. No, it doesn't matter. Whatever money we make, we're going to make sure we pay our DJs and just make sure we break even. So what we would do is that we'd basically just pay like £50 for like a quote unquote opener, and then 100 for the main DJ, which is still a lot of money because again, you're not making a lot. On a good night, I think one of our best times we ever did a party at the Alibi, the bar made like $6,000 or something, right? Which is like 600. But again, at that time, we also booked, 2 legit headliners who wanted 200 or something each or something. When you minus them and then you take out the opener, it's hardly anything left for us. So you always had to kind of balance that. But I still really enjoyed booking my friends to DJ and then paying them £50. Like, it was so nice, the feeling of like getting your friend to play, because most of the times in the scene they were used to just playing for free, so they just assumed that you were playing for free, and then to hand them some money and see them light up, it's like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're kind of respecting them and you're taking them seriously, you're treating them like a professional. That might be the first time they ever got paid legitimately. And I think I've always said as well, I adhere to, I forgot the guy what his name is, but this guy's got this book where it's called like I think it's called Act Like a Pro or Write Like a Pro. I forgot what his name exactly. If I get it, I'll try and put it up on the screen. But basically what he says in this book is basically like, you can call yourself a professional the moment somebody pays you for what you do. So even if it's like a nominal fee, even if it's like $1, £5, it doesn't matter. As long as somebody pays you for your skill, then you become a professional. So I liked, that feeling of basically making my friends professionals by giving them money to pay at this fucking shitty club gig somewhere. All that to say, today I learned something fucking wild. So on this podcast called The Regs, featuring Robert Kelly, Dan Soda, Lucia Gomez and Joe List, a recent episode just came out, episode 12. They were talking about a theatre comic, a legit theatre comic, who happens to only pay their openers $100. Yes, you heard that. A theatre comic, which basically means a stand-up comedian that plays at level of theatres, which is like, anywhere from 1,000 capacity up, right? Is paying their openers, people who perform before they perform, $100. Even though this theatre comic, most likely on a weekend, because if you do theatres, you usually do a weekend, that's 2 shows. Most likely over those 2 shows, they're probably making $400,000. Obviously before fees and shit. Let's cut that down and say $200,000 after fees, after agent, after whatever. And they're only paying the openers $100. This to me is utterly disgusting and goes to show just how scummy most people are when it comes to their friends or whatever. If they can get away with paying people the less, they will get away with it. But it also shows to me how cowardly these comedians are. Because they all took a big game about being free speech bastions, about saying the uncomfortable truth, blah, 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 blah. And they've got somebody in their community who is a theatre comic, who allegedly is Theo Von, by the way. Allegedly, they're talking about Theo Von. Allegedly, they're talking about Theo Von. Is paying people $100 only when he's making $200,000 at the weekend. And again, not including what he probably makes on his podcast. Forget all that stuff. I know it's his own money, but still, that's pretty disgusting. Pretty disgusting. So let's listen to these guys talk about it, because this was wild when I first heard about it. Absolutely wild.
Ever kicked me back anything?
I had the same thing.
Ever. I'm here like not $1.
I never had a flight bought for me.
But I'm hearing some stories on the road about some major headliners.
Name names. Can I say new rule? New rule.
Have to name names.
It's going to start shit with people.
I don't care.
Yeah, you do.
I don't care. I don't care
either. Go.
I do care. I don't, because
whisper to me. You didn't say
Corporate Dan.
No. Then put this feed on a regular Regs feed.
Woo.
Oh, is that it? Done.
Whoa.
Wow.
Done.
So you can check our audio on the Regs feed.
There's a few.
You can't do that. Listen, don't confuse these fucking people. All right, just tell us how big. How big? Are we talking
initials?
Are we talking clubs, theaters, or arenas?
Theaters.
Okay.
If you're playing theaters and you're not taking back your guy,
$100 a show to the opener.
Theaters.
No.
$100 a show to.
Wow.
And this ain't when you started in the 60s.
Name names.
In the what?
I don't want to name names, Lewis.
Don't name names. Mouth it to me. No.
Yeah.
No. Why don't I want to say it?
This.
You can go ahead and say it. It's a rumor, though. That's why I don't want to say it. Because also the person that told me opened.
Are we friends with this person?
No.
The person.
I wish.
The person that told me this opens for them.
By the way, I'm surprised by that, by the way. Again, these comedy guys, they act like they're friends. They act like they're all best buddies. But isn't it interesting that neither Robert Kelly, Dan Soda, Lucia Gomez, or Joe List would count Theo Von as a friend, even though they all kind of exist in the same sort of like social group, kinda. They don't really know each other. Isn't that interesting? Huh. There's a lot. That's why I think, and again, this is something that isn't new, but that's why I think there's probably way more hate within comedians than there is online. These guys like to make it seem like Too Lazy to Try, Podcast Cringe, myself, Unique, Comedy Enforcement, 10 Minutes or Short. They make it seem as if we're the ones that are like creating all the drama and stuff in the division. But I actually think amongst them, there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of like dislike of each other, actually, if you think about it, really and truly, because imagine this being a thing that they're talking about behind the scenes and how pissed off it would make you feel if one, because I'd imagine a lot of these openers are probably friends of theirs complaining like, oh my God, I got this opportunity to perform with Theo, allegedly, and Theo only paid me $100 for this opening set. Obviously it's a great opportunity, but $100 and he's making 200,000. That's flipping insane, right? So that must create a little bit of animosity between them, because they're thinking, hold on, because they all know what each other makes, right? Comedians know there's, which probably is one of the reasons why I've always laughed at the suggestion. I've always laughed whenever especially Brendan Shaw would go out of his way to lie about ticket sales, because I'd always think to myself, like, why are you lying about ticket sales? Why are you saying the show's almost sold out, all this nonsense? When the fans, like, I don't know about you, but if a comedian says online, oh, tickets are about to be sold out, even for a rave or party, or we're down to the last 100 tickets, the first thing I think of when I get those emails, oh, you're not selling enough tickets then. Because if you were selling tickets well, there's no time or rhyme or reason to put together an email to get more people to buy. You're just trying to make sure you can fulfill the tickets that you're already selling now and provide the show that needs to be provided. And I also felt when people say, oh, we're down to the last tickets, hurry up and buy them, especially someone like a Brendan, why are you saying that to the fans? Because everybody in the industry, knows that you're not selling tickets. So it's not like you're fooling the fans, and you're not fooling the people behind the scenes because they know what I want, because, they all share agents, booking agents, they talk to bartenders, ticket guys, all this malarkey. So it's just an interesting thing just to analyze. Like, these guys legitimately behind the scenes, I don't think are as friendly as they make it seem.
As like real, hey, this is green room talk, and I don't want to blow that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know several.
You know several. Well,
Yeah.
you give some.
Yeah.
Give a name, fucking name.
I'm not.
God, we're such what a little sewing circle we have.
Yeah,
I know all about it.
Oh, hold on.
I don't know.
Can I say?
I'm gonna text you.
Can I
Text me.
say? Naming the name wouldn't be a bad thing, because then they would change it.
Is
They
it a
would change
woman? Is it
I
a-
kind
wait a
of
minute.
agree
No,
with
but you
Wait
can
a
do that in
minute.
private.
I don't think that's cool, by the way. Naming the names just so they can change their behavior isn't cool. I actually think it's more offensive that Theo allegedly is getting away with paying his openers $100 when he's doing theaters. The fact that he's doing it is the bad thing. When he does eventually change it, because people will shame him into changing it, cool. I actually think it's a bad thing that he's doing it in the first place. It kind of shows who he is as a person, more so than, oh, now you've told me I'm going to change it, because deep down you're doing something wrong. If you're making 200,000 in the weekend and you're giving your opener $200, you're doing something bad. I think, and again, there's two schools of thought here. One school of thought will tell you Theo's platform, Theo's notoriety, Theo's celebrity is so big, and the openers are so interchangeable, so disposable, that maybe you should take whatever's given to you just so you can get on that platform and blow from there, right? But I also don't think that's fair, because a lot of openers that are performing are probably quite experienced. They've probably got a lot of mileage in. They've done a lot of sets. They've been doing it for years anyway. It's not like they're new comics looking for an opportunity. They've probably been around for a while anyway. So they probably should be getting paid a decent salary just because of that, for their experience. And then on top of it as well, it's just, wouldn't you want to have the best of the best opening for you? Yes. To incentivize the best of the best to leave their own tours, to not do their own shows and play with you, you'd probably have to make it worth their while. Now, I would think just paying them their rate would probably be the best way to go about it. Forget what you make. Just pay them their rate. Whatever their rate is for theaters, you just pay that. But if you did want to make it kind of fair, maybe 10% of what you overall take, maybe $2,000 per flipping opener. Is that really too much after 200? After you make 200,000 after fees and everything? to pay a couple of openers $2,000 each out of 200,000? Is that really that much to really give away? I don't really think, or not to pay them. I don't really think so. But again, maybe the mathematics, maybe the scene is different. I don't really know. But it does seem really crazily, it does seem overly greedy, especially when you consider how much money Theo makes from his pod. And now again, that's no one's business. Don't count his pockets. I understand. But still, when you don't even have to rely on comedy like that, hoarding all that comedy money when you're hiring people and only giving them $100 is wild. Now, I have heard people say that he allegedly is paying people's flights and accommodation, but from what I know, that's standard. Like, if you book somebody to, like, for me, if I go back to party promoting and I book a DJ to come play, like if I want to book Rene Wise, right, one of my favorite DJs out there, big up Rene Wise. He's got a flipping EP out at the moment that I reckon you guys should flipping check out. Rene Wise is a fucking G, so big up fucking Rene Wise. But if I went to book Rene Wise at the moment, I'd have to pay his flights and his accommodation. That's just standard what you do. And then you also pay the booking fee. So that's not really a reason. Oh, I'm paying his flights and accommodation. Yeah, cool, but still, $100 is fucking garbage. You might as well not pay me. You might as well just let me come, pay my flights and accommodation, and then go from there type of thing. It's a bit lame. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Let's continue.
Dan, is it a woman or
Man.
it's a man?
But there's a woman too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a couple. There's a couple.
Oh,
We can all text
buddy.
each other.
You know, we don't got. Can I say this?
Yeah.
The reason we won't name names, and we might, I still may. It's on the tip of my tongue. It may slide out at any given moment. Okay.
No.
That motherfucker
I'ma
makes
tell you-
cash so loud.
I'm gonna tell you right now, and I'm just gonna tell you the theater. The Chicago theater
The
sits
what?
over
The
4.
theater.
The Chicago theater seats over 4,000 people, I think, around there.
Let's do the math.
So you're probably making. He's doing 2 sold out shows a night.
100 a ticket, 150 a ticket.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least 70.
At
a
least
ticket.
80 a ticket. At least 80 a ticket, and you're making. That's $200,000 in a night.
per show.
A night. I'd probably say 100,000 a show, with everything said and done, and you're paying your opener.
It's $400,000 if it's $100 a ticket. I cut it in half because there's got to be $150 VIP.
And you have to.
Let's actually see. Let's actually go on Theo's. Let's see Theo Vaughn's vlog. Let's see if it is Theo. It's pretty disappointing, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, but let's actually see Theo Vaughn's shows. Let's see shows, not shoes. We don't care about his fucking shoes. Let's see what shows he's doing recently. So let's go on his tour and let's actually see this, right? Oh, he's coming to the UK in June. Oh my god, he's coming to the UK in June. Okay, we're going to see Theo. When the 15th. Oh shit, this is really good. Okay, cool. I didn't know this. Theo's coming to UK in June. Okay, cool. Great. All right, let's do. These are all theaters, right? These are almost these aren't theaters. These are arenas, aren't they? Let's do that one. Wherever that place is. Let's do the Eventim in Apollo. What is that called? The Eventim Apollo. So let's see what this is saying. Let's see this. Let's do London one, right? Let's make it easy because I'm in the UK right now. So let's do London dates. So the Eventim Apollo, right? Does it have capacity there? No, let's do capacity. Let's do capacity of the Eventim in Apollo, right? So the auditorium Eventim in Apollo, which Theo Vaughn's allegedly doing, is 3,655 fully seated. How much are the tickets for this thing? Let's buy tickets. Go Ticketmaster, make it easy. Let's see how much these tickets are at this place, because this will kind of give us an understanding of how much this guy is scamming some of his flipping fellow comedian friends, because this is flipping wild, right? So let's go for the tickets. The Theo Vaughn Return of the Rot, happening on Saturday the 15th of June 2024 at the Eventim Apollo in London. Let's see how much these tickets are going for right now on the old place. So, oh my god, bro, god damn, £120 minimum. Let's do one. I want to get one ticket. How much are they? So a regular seat in the stalls there at the front is like let's see, 78.25. Let's call it because there's stalls and what are these other seats here? Let's say the tickets are $100. Let's say they're 100, right? Let's just make it £100. Let's make it an average of that shit, right? So we've got 100 times 3,655 allegedly he's making in that weekend or that one show particularly $365,000, right? Let's divide that by 2 and say that that's what he's paying in fees and taxes and shit. After that, he's still making 182,000. To only take 182,000 and give people $100 or £100 is fucking insane. If you gave them like what? If you gave them 1%, which is $1,000, that still be, you still got a lot of money there left, right? Like legitimately, there's no need to be paying people $100. Like you're making way too much money to do so. And again, for me, forget how much money you're making. Like I said before, when I was promoting parties, it's not really about how much money you're making. It's just about paying your friends and wanting people that you support and love, especially if you're taking them on the road. Because imagine if you're going on tour and you have people open for you, you probably trust them. They're probably your friends. You probably like hanging around with them. So why not put some money in their pockets and make them feel good about coming out with you and shit? I don't know, right? I don't know. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that? I get if they're just some random people and you don't know them and the venue is kind of shoving them down your throat or telling you have to take them to be your opener. But if these people you're actually booking yourself or whatever, help them out. Maybe even local comedians, doesn't matter who it is, just help them flipping out and give them a little bit more than £100 because that's absolutely wild. Let's continue with the clip.
You have to pay your fucking for the fee for the theater. Everybody.
That's 100. That's 400. That's almost a $500,000.
That is ridiculous.
That's a show.
That's ridiculous. $100 a show for an opener.
I'm gonna retroactively take all the money I give to Zach and Scott back. This is crazy. I don't need to give them anything.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna Venmo all my old openers.
I don't have anything to give.
I'm gonna pay Danny more money for this weekend.
Danny's sitting over there like Danny prompted us. He goes, "You guys should bring up how much openers make."
Max, did I send you your extra money for that week?
Wow, look how small Dan Soda's hands are. Doesn't Dan Soda have hands that don't look like they're connected to his body? Am I bugging out?
I'm going to pay Danny more money for this weekend.
Danny's sitting over there like, Danny prompted
Yeah, his hands look like they're on sticks, isn't it?
us. He goes, "You guys should bring up how much openers make."
Max, did I send you your extra money for that week?
So, Joe,
no.
to
All right, I'll
kind of
send you
argue
right
your point, I think there still is a problem.
We've also already had this conversation on the podcast, like pretty much word for word, I think.
Yeah, have we?
Not this podcast.
I think so.
No, when?
Because I knew who you were talking about. Because
Yeah, but this is. Can I say something?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
This is.
I never
new.
brought this up.
He was
'cause I
talking
learned
about.
this
He was
2
talking
weeks
about
ago.
being shitty in green rooms. That's what you're confusing.
Yeah.
No, we didn't say his name though.
Oh, never mind.
And also, I learned this 2 weeks ago, so there's no way I talked about this. Because I work.
No, he's confusing. Yeah. Thank you for ruining the fucking flow. Honorary Chris Scopo, flow ruiner in the fucking
Jesus
corner over
Christ,
here.
at least have a big butt when you do
for
it.
no reason.
That's fucking nuts.
That's nuts.
That's
and someone
nuts.
should say something to him. If I was friends with him, I
Because
probably would
the
say something.
podcast money is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
You just like
Never mind that money. That money's great.
Let's move on. We're not naming names. We should get a guest on the show. Maybe.
he's big. Be a big get.
Huge cat, dude.
I want to know who the girl is.
That guy
Text-
probably makes a lot of money on the road.
Text me the girl. I want to know the girl. Text me, Joe.
I don't know. Something about, again, I know I mentioned the podcast money, but it's something about the way they mentioned it. You know, I'm kind of sensing a bit of jealousy. I don't know. Again, understandably so. Like I said before, I think it legitimately is way more understandable that these guys will be jealous of each other than random people like us. I just watch them online. That's why I find when these guys complain and cry about YouTubers making videos about them, it's like, bro, you're jealous of the next guy next to you because deep down, all these guys believe they're funnier than the other person anyway. Then when you hear somebody's getting paid an absorbent amount of, you know, an absurd amount in terms of a booking fee, it's going to make you feel a bit crappy about yourself because you do exactly the same thing that they do. You also think you're better than them and they're getting paid, you know, 100 times more than you. So I think the hate mostly exists within their little group, but they'd like to kind of push it out to flipping randoms on the outside. But again, the podcast thing doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what Theo makes on his pod. He can make $1 million per episode. It doesn't fucking matter. That's completely separate. The interesting and really sad thing is that for the shows themselves, taking into account what he takes away, roughly, again, we're only doing roughly, it looks like per theater, he's making a minimum of £200, $200,000, right? $200,000 per minimum is what he's kind of averaging out. Maybe let's say 150 to 250 to be on the safe side of things. To take out of that only $100 to pay each opener is absolutely insane and diabolical. And the fact that none of them call it out and they're not willing to kind of name names or say it because they're afraid of, you know, burning relationships and stuff is kind of shitty and kind of crazy, because essentially other comedians now are going to suffer off the back of it. It's going to continue. It'll be like one of those kind of open secrets no one's going to address. And it obviously doesn't get to the root of the problem, because I feel like most likely this is learned behavior. Most likely Theo has learned to do this because other people allegedly have probably done it to him as well. So this is probably a practice that happens quite often with comedians underpaying other comedians, which is absolutely wild when you consider they all have come from the mud. They all had to fucking bust down a sandwich, share flipping hotel rooms. They know the struggle. So to then book your friend or random, it doesn't matter who it is, and not even pay them for their time is absolutely insane. Legitimately insane. But again, I'm literally not surprised at all. Really not surprised. I've always got the feeling that these guys are a little bit greedy. They hoard all the wealth anyway. They don't really share it around, which explains some of the beef that they have and stuff. It's not really about comedy and whatever. It's about who can ever become more famous and catty and backstabby and stuff. This explains quite a bit going on. But if it is Theo, it's kind of disappointing because I'm a big fan of his. I love his pod. I love him as a person. He seems like a cool dude. And to hear to hear that he might be doing this is kind of lame. I'm not gonna lie. It's really, really lame. And I hope it isn't true. I hope it really isn't true.
That'd be a big get.
It'd be a big get place. We think we can pay him $100 to be on the show.
Big booking. And guess what? I don't think you'll see any of us on this podcast.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
I can't wait to hear the girl.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta go.
Really? You know the girl?
Wild.
Wild.
Say the girl. It's a girl. She can't do anything to us.
Allegedly the girl, according to the comments, is Nikki Glazer, because I think they said Dan Soder dated her back in the day. I think Dan Soder might have dated Nikki Glazer. That's the rumor, or that's what maybe he admitted. So they're saying the girl maybe is Nikki Glazer. I don't really have an opinion on Nikki Glazer. I don't really listen to her. I remember her doing that really cringy song where that comedian died and being kind of embarrassed for her, but I don't really listen to her content or know much about her as a person. But yeah, allegedly it's Nikki Glazer they're talking about.
Joe, did you text the group?
Can I tell you? I don't even know who that is. I don't even know who the fuck that is.
This is such a little sewing circle.
Who is
guys.
it?
He texted me and Dan. He didn't text
Well,
me.
I texted Dan, and then you asked.
What are you, an asshole?
Well, I didn't want to text the whole group.
Maybe
No, but you're going to say it.
Oh.
That's what I heard.
Who is that? Do you know her?
Yeah.
I don't even know who that is.
Dan knows it.
Plead the fifth.
Hi, Dan. How do you know her?
I plead the fifth, dude. Let's just move on. Danny's right. We had this conversation. Guys, we're bringing up old
So there's a
shit.
few people, but in general, I think
yes.
it's much
So
better.
let me ask-
I take care of my openers better than I was taking care of. I will say.
But you should.
By like
Damn, I hope Louis
like
doesn't see this.
100x.
Louis was great.
Louis gave
No,
you guys
Louis.
Rolexes.
Louis didn't give me one. I had to
there you go.
fucking-
Anyway, just to end this also now explains why these guys were coming in their pants so hard when Rogan opened his comedy club and he started paying people. That was the first thing that came out of the comedy club, right? Oh, it's an amazing club, the mothership in flipping Austin. Oh my God, oh my God. But the other thing that people kept talking about and never stopped mentioning was the pay. And I was always like, what the fuck is wrong with these guys? Why do they keep mentioning why is it such a big deal? But now we know why it's such a big deal, because they all get shafted once. Like, I think you have to, that's why probably they're also desperate to get Netflix specials and stuff, because once you headline, you kind of command a certain fee. But when you're an opener and stuff, a middle act and stuff, I think you kind of get shafted a lot by clubs, by other comedians, by booking agents. Like, I remember there was a thread actually on the stand-up Reddit I checked out. I think I spoke about it on the pod, where some guy allegedly was making people pay to perform in places. Imagine, right? The guy was making people, I think it was a promoter in New York, he was making comedians pay to perform, but then he was charging an entry fee at the club. Can you imagine that? He was double dipping. He was making comedians pay him money to perform at his shows, but then charging tickets for the shows and keeping all the money. So I think that whole scene is very corrupt, very dodgy. Probably not dissimilar to the DJ world. Like, I've played in places where I've been promised money, then you go to collect it and the promoter fucking vanishes into thin air, or you send an invoice and it doesn't get paid. Like these things can happen sometimes, but I think it's funnier with comedians because they always talk about how much of a brotherhood it is, and it's a fraternity, as fucking Brennan would say. They're all boys, they're all friends, they will help each other out, blah, blah, blah. But apart from appearing on each other's podcasts, when it comes to the money, when it comes to what matters, putting bread on the table, they don't do that. And I think they have to give Ari Shaffir credit. Ari Shaffir, I know, comes across like a piece of shit. He comes across like a bit of a cunt. But Ari Shaffir, back in the day when he used to do his pod, I forgot what the name of it was exactly, but Ari Shaffir's old podcast, he would pay guests when they came on. I remember one in particular, he paid this guy, and he legitimately was like, yeah, I was down bad before I came on your pod. I didn't know you were going to pay me. And I think he gave him like $200 or something to come on his fucking podcast. So Ari Shaffir is an absolute legend for doing that because he remembers his roots. He remembers how hard it was coming up, you know, and he'd get people on his podcast, the Skeptic Tank, and he'd literally pay guests. He'd give them $100 or $200, I don't know, it's a nominal fee of like, here, thanks for coming on. I'm probably going to get some decent money from AdSense or from sponsors anyway. Here's $100 to kind of like, you know, pay for your Uber back, get yourself some dinner, whatever, man. And these comedians would be so happy because, you know, they literally would arrive to his podcast with zero in their pockets, but just looking for a chance to kind of, you know, take, you know, maybe perform and dance in front of a new audience. And here these big comedians performing places not paying people. So this makes me feel better about myself and what I used to do back in the day when I used to pay DJs at my little parties I used to do back in the day called So Special. And again, me and my friend Miles were very, you know, we didn't agree on much back in the day. We used to kind of bump heads quite often, unfortunately. But what we did actually always agree on was making sure we paid our DJs £50, even though we didn't make a lot of money. Sometimes we'd lose money. We'd always pay people £50 or £100 to play an hour or two at whatever club night that we did, and it felt nice. I'm not gonna lie, it felt fucking good to help your friends out, to pay for their art, pay for their skills, and essentially help them along the way to becoming professional. The funny thing is about that though, you have to do it with an open heart without expecting anything back, because a lot of those people. A lot of those people that we booked, especially that I went out and kind of found, they never returned the favor. Like whenever it was their party, they never would book us to perform. Like, do you know what I mean? That's the only sad thing about the type of shit. Like people, like imagine Rogan probably pays all these guys really well if they're going on the road with him, but then he finds out that they're doing this to their own. I mean, that's the kind of sad thing about it. They never kind of pay it forward, or they never pay it back. It's kind of like, yeah, you just give me something, I just take it and I run. That's the kind of sad thing. But again, when you do stuff like that, I don't think you should do stuff like that waiting for somebody to give you something back or to have a pat on the back. You just do it for doing sake, you know? But again, what do I know? What do I know? What do I know? Moving on. Can I quickly mention this because I love this? Big up Rene Wise. As you guys know, I'm a big techno fan. I'm a big dance music fan. I'm a big DJ fan and shit. And I think in general, it's really difficult nowadays to be a fan of somebody and kind of watch their journey, because a lot of people kind of go from hero to zero very quickly, and then unfortunately the quality of music suffers. You follow somebody, especially in the techno scene, you kind of become fans of them, you start to watch or buy all their releases, go and see them play, but then over time, as they become more popular, their skill set, their quality of their music really dips hardcore, and it can be hard to kind of stomach that, oh my god, you used to love this person and now they're absolutely terrible. That isn't the case with Rene Wise. Rene Wise has always been somebody that I've kind of been a fan of. I kind of gravitated to Rene Wise, whatever that fucking word is, when I was kind of getting a bit bored with the whole uts, fast for fast sake, 140 BPM techno thing that was going on. When I find Rene Wise, at the same time I found Maron, and they both they're both involved in the same party over there in Amsterdam called Earth Commune, and I loved them because of the grooviness of what they played. So it was the techno that you kind of are all familiar with, but it had a bit of rhythm, had a bit of bounce, had a bit of melody, had a bit of musicality to it. It just didn't sound like it was smashing you over the head and, you know, hoping that you'd fucking go to sleep. It was actually kind of nice to listen to, I'm not going to lie. So I've always been a big fan of him because of that. And it's been great to see that although he's become way more popular than he was when I first started getting into him, and I've seen him play all over the fucking place, now he's still performing and producing the same quality of music. The quality hasn't decreased. So I have to give the guy ratings for that. He just released actually a new EP at the moment as well, which I definitely think that you should be checking out. The EP, if I remember correctly, is called, I think it's Moving Something, right? If I'm not mistaken. The EP is called Moving Pressure. Number one is from his label, self-released. So the first EP from his label called Moving Pressure. A big fan of the flipping EP. Please make sure you check it out if you haven't already. And another big news about Rene Wise, again, watching his journey has been fucking amazing, is that this date, allegedly the date here, on the 9th of the 6th in Berghain, he's going to be closing. And closing set in Berghain is like the premier sort of like honor to be closing Berghain main room. Same with closing Panorama Bar main room. But to be considered to already be doing that so early on in his career, and obviously it's kind of a sign of how much he's been tearing it up and how much he's kind of highly regarded in the scene. And it's good as well because he's only getting better, he's only improving, and he hasn't dipped in quality, he hasn't become corny, the quality of music hasn't fucking subsided, he hasn't turned into a cunt for the most part. You can see online, he communicates with his fans, he likes comments, he answers questions and shit. He's a fucking sound guy, and he comes across obviously pretty well in interviews as well. So I'm really happy to see that this has become a thing. And obviously, you know, allegedly this date here on the 9th, he's going to be headlining Berghain, so I really am curious to see what that's going to be like. I aim to try and be there for that weekend actually in June. I'm going to try though, because I think I'm also wanting to be there at the end of May, so maybe those two dates together might be a bit too soon, but I'm going to try to make it work, because that'll be pretty sick to see him close Berghain and to kind of see him go from being somebody that I watched perform at Fold, right, like many a times, or you know, yeah, 2 or 3 times I think at Fold, and then to go from that to now suddenly closing Berghain is absolutely crazy. But then this goes to show that, you know, quality music does kind of sustain you and does kind of continue going on. So big up fucking Rene Wise. And because we're talking about Rene Wise, we're going to obviously play one of my favorite tracks actually from the EP, Moving Pressure. As much as people kind of love, again, it's a 4-track EP. It starts off with Escape Cyro, Cajun Green, Dry Beetle, and then Lonely Singing at the end. I think the first, because it's such a quality EP that I really like, and oddly enough, I always have different favorites every time I go back and listen to it. I think the first favorite was obviously Cajun Green, then Dry Beetle, but now I'm starting to kind of warm towards Lonely Singing, and it's the last track on the EP. Usually the first 2 tracks on the EP are usually the A-side, and those are usually what people deem to be the singles, the quote-unquote the hit records. And at the moment, judging from Apple Music, Escaping Cyro has been the biggest track and the most popular one that people kind of love from him, and I'm assuming Cajun Green follows. But I actually always have been a B-side type of guy anyway. So I'm actually more into Lonely Singing. It's absolutely banging. I'm going to play it for you now. It's Rene Wise, Lonely Singing. It's available now, all digital streaming platforms. Check it out. It's flipping hard. That is Rene Wise, Lonely Singing, available now on all digital streaming platforms. Make sure you check it out. Some of those little bloop at the top, just the random little dings. I just imagine some of that stuff coming on while I'm rolling on flipping 2CB somewhere, eyes closed behind some shades, doing my hot white girl dance, right? Because that's what I'm doing when I'm in the club. The first thing I'm doing when I'm in the club is my hot white girl dance. Let's see if I can find it. I forgot it's in that anime, hot white girl dance anime. I remember there was a particular anime that had a gif about it that was really good. There's one of them, right? This might be one of them. That's definitely me. Yeah, that's, forget hot girl. That's definitely me. When I'm in a dance, this is definitely me. I'm definitely this girl, right? Listen to Rene Wise in the club, mouth moving all over the place, jaw swinging, you know, going absolutely crazy, looking pretty and hot, and looking hot and pretty, looking pretty and hot, and looking hot and pretty. Big up Rene Wise, big up all the ravers out there. Love and light to all of you people. Love and light to all of you people. Moving on from that one, we need to talk about Tom Sachs. So I don't know about you guys, but I've seen this weird renaissance of people basically getting back into Tom Sachs, right? The contemporary artist, designer, agent provocateur, and just all around legend, who unfortunately was involved in a bit of a scandal because he was accused of abusing some of his you know, employees and stuff, and basically creating a bit of a hostile you know, working environment, and also turning up to Zoom meetings in his underwear, which for some reason constitutes sexual harassment. Not too sure why that's the case, but turning up to a meeting in your underwear is paramount to being Harvey Weinstein. But whatever, it is what it is. In the process, people like myself who are fans of Tom Sachs because of the collaboration he does with Nike were upset because the Nike Mars Yards, one of my favorite sneakers of all time, and one of the sneakers outside of Yeezys, my Nike Mars Yards were the one shoe that I had that got compliments from people that weren't even into shoes. And now obviously he's kind of got cancelled for that. Nike terminated his deal with them, and we're not going to get any more Nike Mars Yards. But I've seen a renaissance. I've seen a flipping revival of Tom Sachs on the timeline because he's doing this bodega thing. So according to hypebeast, he's got this studio that he's doing. As you can see on the Instagram, you got some pictures there of it. But the hypebeast article says Cactus Plant Flea Market and Tremaine Emory of Denim Tears presents Junk exclusive. Cactus Plant Flea Market and Tremaine Denim Tears founder Tremaine Emory presents Junk, Just Junk literally. CPFM and Emory are presenting Just Junk, a week-long exhibition and temporary shop at the Bodega 245, an enigmatic experiment space located at 245 Center Street in New York. And because this is an art installation overseen by two modern masters of merchandise, there is, guess what, merch. High Snobiety got an exclusive debut of the commemorative t-shirt created by Cactus Plant Flea Market, seen on the image below. It releases on May 2nd to coincide with the launch and wears artwork from Tom Sachs, who founded Bodega 245 in 2016. The experiment, previously on hiatus, restarted in April 2024. So Tom Sachs is coming back with two very mainstream, you know, streetwear collaborations. So after all the abuse allegations, after being cancelled by Nike, he's been co-signed immediately by by Cactus, Flea, Plant Market, and obviously Denim Tears and Tremaine Emory. It says here, Sachs, whose long-time Nike partnership ended in 2023, ended because obviously of the scandal, illustrates the immutable Content Plant V Market smiley on the logo. In contrast to the made in Switzerland lingo, however, t-shirts is made in America. It's not only the limited edition drop. Going down 245 Emory is contributing to the collaboration with a sweater design in homage of the video store owned by his parents. The store name is Just Tapes, inspired by the Just Junk moniker. Stuff is irreplaceable in the end. Emory wrote on Instagram, it's Just Junk. Memories, however, So we obviously got some pictures here, maybe of some merch he's going to be showing there. That's obviously the jumper that I guess his parents owned. Is this one of the reasons why people say Tremaine grew up rich? Because, or somehow middle class, because his parents had a video store back in the day? This might be one of the reasons why people don't take his systemic racism controls America thing seriously, because it seems like his parents were very well educated, seemed like they had business chops that they obviously passed down to him. And, you know, especially back then, I don't know if this is the 70s or 80s, his parents had a video store, a VHS store, which is probably equivalent to having a fucking, you know, to owning a fucking mini Target. I don't know if that's true. The caption, he says, context, Mum and Pop's Dukes had a video store in the late 80s called Just Tapes. Our store sweatshirt was designed by Play from Kid and Play, who worked at the store as well. Yo, is Tremaine Emory a Nepo baby? Is Tremaine Emory a Nepo Rastafarian? A Nepo man? A Nepo Negro? Is that possible? Can you be a Nepo baby and be black? I wonder if you can be a Nepo baby and be black. I don't know. But fucking hell, Tremaine. Systemic racism controls America, and your parents had a fucking video store at the height of VHS. That's fucking wild. They're their own mini Blockbuster. Okay. Our sweatshirt was designed by Play from Kid and Play. Wild. It was the first iteration it was my first iteration with design. The video store was my first interaction with art, style, and storytelling. I watched thousands of movies that still form me to this day. I miss the store and the tapes, but I really just miss the customers, store clerks, and my mum the most. Because the stuff is replaceable in the end, it's Just Junk. So Just Junk and Cactus in our temporary shop, but they're gonna come through. So you see that stuff going on there, blah blah blah. Anyway, apart from all that stuff, I'm wondering now, can we please forgive Tom Sachs? Can we please forgive Tom Sachs for these? Can we get Tom Sachs on the timeline? Can we make Tom Sachs a thing again so we can have these shoes back? Please, I beg you, for the love of God, can we all forgive Tom Sachs? I know he's an abusive guy. I know allegedly he threw moleskins at his flipping employees. I know allegedly he turned up to meetings in his underwear, which makes him out to be flipping, you know, R. Kelly or something. But can we forgive him? Because who else is making Nike collaborations at this level? Who else is making shoes of this type of quality, of these Mars Yard 2.5s? And we lost these, by the way. These were the Mars Yard 2.5s that were due to come out. But then as they were due to come out, Tom Sachs got fucking cancelled for being a bad boss. Look at them. They've got this amazing, I don't know what this type of material is on the upper, on the toe box as well, on the paneling on the side. That's almost see-through. It's kind of like a parachute type material. I'm assuming it's obviously waterproof. It obviously can, it slicks oil pretty well. You've got this rubberized toe on the front, so you can wear these when you're working around the fucking, you know, when your little work area, in your little man cave. If a hammer drops on your toe, it won't fucking hurt you. You've got the amazing midsole that gathers dust and keeps dust off at the same time. You got the upper, which you all know and love, with the brown and the red on there. You got the fucking off-white laces. You got the reinforced eyelets, because I had my original ones that unfortunately ripped when I was wearing them too hard and pulling laces too tough, because the rips will kind of rub against the fucking eyelets. But now you got reinforced eyelets to make sure the fucking rip doesn't happen on the suede. These are beautiful shoes. And we don't have them anymore because, you know, people got too sensitive because Tom Sachs, the fucking, you know, agent provocateur and the design guy, allegedly is a bit of a bad boss, right? As this article says in when was the article dropped? I forgot when it happened. But basically, this article kind of details some of the things that happens here. The headline is former Tom Sachs employee detail new allegations of meager pay, dehumanizing work for the artist and his wife, Sarah Hoover. So allegedly, Tom Sachs and his wife, allegedly, were running a bit of a sweatshop with that Tom Sachs studio that they were running. He was a hard boss, hard man. But again, look at his face. Do you think this guy is going to be a great manager? Do you think he's going to be a very humanizing and nice person to work with? Probably not. You don't really be able to, you're not able to create work of this level You're not able to have a bodega of this flipping coolness level and also be a nice guy. It doesn't work like that, right? You have to be a bit of a cunt to be this dude. So I'm not really surprised that that was the case. But I looked back and I decided to check online and saw this post from the first Nike Craft wear test program. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but when the Tom Sachs shoes originally came out, there was this whole wear test thing going on where essentially Tom Sachs created this whole world around the shoes that involved you using them. The whole premise behind it was like, hey, don't put these shoes on a pedestal. Don't put them in fucking white clear boxes. Don't put them on those horrible sneaker things that people have where it makes a shoe float in the air. No, these shoes are to wear. These shoes are to fucking do things with, go to the gym, daily commute, whatever. And he did this whole entire video presenting his idea and methodology behind it. And I don't think you get this level of creativity and presentation when it comes to Nike collaborations anymore. No one puts in this type of effort. So I think for this reason alone, we need Tom Sachs back at Nike ASAP, please.
In development, failure is always an option. Failure is an opportunity for improvement. Testing in a controlled environment
Look how cool that is.
will only get you so far. Eventually, you need the real world. Versatility breeds durability. In the studio, we are specialists.
That shit looks so cool. I want those shoes so badly. Honestly. Give them to me. I'll take the abuse.
We are athletes. We push our equipment to meet our unique demands. There is a limit to what we can anticipate. Science is knowing what you don't know. We need your help. Help us find the sweet spots. Help us find the weak points.
Look how cool that looks, man. Come on, bro. Look at these shoes, man. Bring Tom Sachs back
Help
at Nike
us wear
ASAP.
these shoes to death.
Bring him back, man. Bring him back. Look how cool these fucking shoes are.
To join our wear testing program, post a 1-minute video to your Instagram feed. The opening shot must list your Instagram handle, your location, and your shoe size. Explain why you want to join. Tag Tom Sachs and use the hashtag #NikeCraftWearTester so we see it.
Do you take these shoes to have and to hold, to wear and to tear, and document daily?
Can't really see the shoes.
Do you swear to return these shoes upon completion of the experiment?
It's raining a bunch.
We require hard work and commitment. This is a collaboration. This is your chance to leave your mark.
So anyway, that was the original Nike wear test, the last one before obviously the collaboration got cancelled, unfortunately, because people accused Tom Sachs of being a piece of shit boss. Reading the actual allegations themselves, reading them back, they don't seem that bad. I'm not gonna lie. He seems like a bit of a cunt. He seems like a bit of a wanker. He seems like somebody that a lot of people would find insufferable. But I think if you've worked in design, if you've worked in fashion, if you've worked in the restaurant industry, you've obviously encounter somebody like this. He's a bit of an egomaniac, right? So let's look at the article from 2023 that details some of the allegations. It says, Curb, which first reported the allegations, noted that many of the employees described the studio as a cult. which again shouldn't be surprising. You've seen the video; it is quite cultish, but again, some of the best cults design-wise. Some make some of the best things. I think when Steve Jobs was around, Apple was a bit of a cult, and look what Steve Jobs did under Apple. So being in a cult isn't so bad. The people that are in flipping Scientology seems like they're having a bit of fun over there, including Sachs himself, who once stressed to Vogue, I mean that in the Manson family kind of way, in that we're totally committed to this way of life. Almost all of the allegations levied at him are in the story. Now 5 former Tom Sachs employees spoke to Artnet News on the condition of anonymity because they signed an NDA and have reported new details about the job's alleged unsafe conditions. To be fair, if you work at a design studio and they make you sign an NDA, I know it's typical of America because America's kind of, you guys are a bit weird over there, but if you work for a design studio and they make you sign an NDA, there's probably some bullshit going on there. But you take it because the chance and the opportunity is more beneficial than, however triggering or red flaggy that NDA is. Because, again, it's just a flipping design studio. Why do you need to fucking have a signed NDA? Probably reason why, because it's a fucking shithole to work at. It continues. Backlash against Sachs from those in the art and sneaker worlds have been swift, but for so far, Nike has partnered with the artist for 11 years and has not announced any consequences. Tom has never harassed anyone. He has never tried cool. Anyway, so here's some of the allegations. Some past workers at Sachs Studio say that they were required to perform menial tasks not mentioned on their job descriptions and to stay working late into the night, often for minimum wage. Again, very normal in design, fashion world, not that surprising. I don't give a fuck. For years, minimum wage was standard for some employees at Saks Studio. When New York raises the minimum wage from $12 to $15 per hour in 2019, Saks reportedly told employees to consider their new legal mandate pay increase as a promotion. That's pretty crazy. Okay, Tom Sachs sounds like a cunt. New York raises the fucking minimum wage and then he says, hey, that counts as a promotion. Don't ask me for anything anymore, okay? That's already a promotion. Don't ask me anything. Okay, let's see what he did as well. Sachs spokesperson denied the claim. They confirmed the store employees received a minimum wage but said that some workers claimed that more meaningful promotion occurred when they stopped being asked to perform duties that apparently had nothing to do with making art, like running errands for Hoover. So you got promoted if you decided to go what and grab her a sandwich or buy her a fucking Birkin. Is that so bad? Come on, bro. The people who did the more low-level assistant jobs were constantly asked to do stuff for Sarah. They were technically supposed to be studio employees, but to work their way up the ladder, they had to do all these Sarah Hoover tasks. There's nothing too wrong about that. She wants you to get her a fucking sandwich, a fucking, chicken Caesar salad. Get that shit and get moved up, bro. None of us signed up to work for Sarah Hoover's studio. None of us felt that we could say no because she was the boss's wife, as you shouldn't. Like, say yes and keep your mouth shut, learn what you need to learn and then bounce. The distinction between supporting Tom's personal life and his studio work has not been clearly delineated as it should have been. Tom is making changes to ensure the studio employees only perform tasks related to studio program. I don't think you can delineate about these type of things. The way they kind of conduct themselves based on the video that we just seen here for the Nike Craft test thing. And obviously, if you guys are familiar with Tom Sachs, you know about his 10 bullet philosophy and shit. You can't be Tom Sachs and do this sort of stuff like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You kind of do it all the way in. It's a bit of a cult. It's a bit of way of life. It kind of requires 100% dedication. Like, this is not so surprising to me. So I think these guys, again, are crying over something that's very obvious. You only have to watch a couple of videos and to find out what the vibe is of Tom Sachs overall, right? And that's Tom Sachs' wife. Continue there. Allegations against Sachs first emerged after he and Hoover posted a wildly mocking job ad, first brought to light by the blog Filthy Dreams, where the self-described high-profile art world family sought an assistant to perform an absurd range of responsibilities. The candidate will provide child care for their son, write their social media posts, book their travel, pick up their clothes from high-end stores, manage dog systems, organize closet systems, tend to rooftop plants, and provide IT support, among dozens of other tasks intended to make the life of the couple in every way. Isn't that a normal PA role, though? Isn't that what an assistant does? They put out a job advert for an assistant for a wealthy art family in the whatever Manhattan area of fucking New York. Isn't that what they would want you to do? Look after their son, write their social media posts, book their travel tickets, pick up their clothes from dry cleaners and store. That's standard assistant for like a rich person. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but complaining about it is weird. Continuing. I'd pick up clothes for Sarah Hoover from Chanel. I'd be holding this bag full of $20,000 worth of clothes and would be like, this bag is worth more than me. And get your money up, man. Why are you complaining that they've got money to spend on clothes that you can't afford? Just pick up the clothes and keep it moving. Like, honestly, these people, I don't think people have worked internships. Like, I've worked fashion internships where I only got paid my travel fare, and sometimes they'd be tight and not give you even the travel ticket money. So the fact that they're paying you a salary and telling you to pick up some Chanel clothes, which would then lead to you to get a promotion, what's wrong with that? Suck it up, bro, or go somewhere else. Said Stacey, who said £20 an hour to start. She noted that even the significant overtime, she only took home about $26,000 after taxes. That is standard working in a studio as an assistant. You're not meant to make loads of money. When you go to work in a studio, even for a designer, you do it, number one, to learn skills that you can then take on in other places to go work. Usually, especially when it's a small studio, especially when it's a influential kind of like niche artist like Tom Sachs, they're not going to pay you well. They're going to give you a good opportunity. You're going to have a lot of hands-on experience. You're going to have a lot of ownership. You're going to learn directly from the founder. You're going to see them doing their work, all that invaluable experience that you probably will never get if you work for a big corporation. But the pay is never meant to be great. It's always meant to be, all right. But the lifestyle it affords you, you get invited to all the cool events. The studio you work in, or the place you're working, or the bodega, whatever, is a hub for all these interesting people in the scene that you might cross paths with, networking. I think the opportunities of working there and having your name attached to him pre-allegations is probably worth the shitty pay. I'm not gonna lie, it really probably is. Obviously, if they treat you like absolute shit and they mock you and it gets a bit abusive, you can bounce. But I don't think it's that crazy. You're not meant to be paid like 40 grand. Do you know what I mean? To work. That's not how it works. Anyway, employees' low pay contrasted sharply with Sachs and Hoover's lifestyle. So they're complaining that the founders of the company make more or live more lavishly than they do as employees. That's what always happens. Welcome to capitalism, bitch. What did you expect will be happening? If anything, it should give you an idea of what not to do. So you work for them, and then what you do when you have your own company is that you don't repeat the same mistakes that they did. That's what usually people do. But anyway, Stacey recalled preparing meals for Napoleon, Hoover's late French bulldog. They got a bulldog called Napoleon. That's fucking hilarious. All natural wild rabbit, whole food spinach, aloe water, coconut oil. Sometimes I had to sit on the floor and spoon feed. So the dog called Napoleon is eating better than some of the employees. That's hilarious. I love it. The dog is actually eating better than the employees. And then I would have to be wolfing down pizza at the bathroom that was left over from meetings because I didn't have enough money for food. Well, that's your own responsibility, isn't it? That's your own problem. If you don't have money for food and you're having to eat the pizza that they have in the store or in the bodega to feed you, that's more of a you problem. I don't think that's a Tom Sachs thing, to be fair. I know 26,000 isn't a lot of money, but you should be able to have food. Like, the fact that you're relying on fucking charity from your fucking studio is kind of sad. You shouldn't even, I'll tell that to my grave. I'm never admitting that. The spokesman for the studio confirmed the assistants were responsible for preparing veterinarian prescribed meals for the dog. Just drop him is hilarious. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but I want him back. Honestly, I want him back. I think Tom Sachs is desperately needed. Some of the Nike collaborations are super fucking boring. No one's doing it like him. We need Tom Sachs back at Nike ASAP. I don't fucking care. And if some of his friends, especially someone like a Tremaine is allegedly the voice of the downtrodden, the voice of the minorities, the voice of the voiceless, and he's here supporting Tom Sachs despite all those abuse allegations. If he's okay with it, Nike should be okay with it. That's my personality. That's my perspective. That's what I think, and I will not budge on that. I absolutely refuse to budge on that. I really, really do. Moving on from that, we spoke about Tom Sachs. Let's talk about this quickly. Yoon from Ambush decided to put out this really stupid tweet on her social media page, which is funny because, she's kind of calling herself out. Yoon from Ambush, courtesy of Stay Grounded TV, big up Stay Grounded TV. Yoon from Ambush said the following: human creativity is limitless. Let's read it again. Human hashtag creativity. But again, imagine hashtagging creativity and AI in a tweet. Loser, but let's continue. Human hashtag creativity is limitless, unlike hashtag AI, which works with a predefined set of rules. Our hashtag imagination is not bound by our algorithms or software restrictions. This allows us to explore possibilities, even those that may not be considered before. Creative human beings will not be replaced by AI. Real survival in the workforce will lay in being us humans being more super hashtag creative than ever. What? This sounds like you fucking wrote it using fucking AI. This sounds like a ChatGPT fucking, statement in the first place. And the funny thing is, Ambush is probably one of the most AI replaceable brands out there. They have nothing tie in their collections. Every collection is completely different. Every collection jumps on some trend that already exists online, that already has been beat to death. So if any brand should be wary about AI coming in and destroying or taking over what they do, it's Ambush. There's no, I wouldn't say no creativity, but it's very lacking in creativity, very lacking in originality. So to say this is some sort of like declaration or some sort of rah-rah speech for people, it's like, bruh, maybe speak to yourself, maybe talk to them, maybe, look at the person in the mirror and try and maybe correct course in the stuff that you're doing as opposed to speaking in generality. But overall, when it comes to AI, I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of bored. I'm kind of bored of this AI conversation. I think it's boring. I think it's not really going anywhere. I think everybody's trying to, predict the end and trying to be the person that says, oh, I told you so type of thing. But really and truly, from what we've seen so far with the use of AI, it's been pretty shitty. The results haven't been that great. Obviously, in the long term, I think it's going to end up being a tool as opposed to replacing people and replacing huge source of the industry. It maybe has in some cases when it comes to customer service. A lot of customer service chatbots are basically AI now, so they've got rid of pretty much a lot of the sort of like frontline people in that respect. But overall, this big overbearing AI thing that was meant to kind of destroy humanity hasn't really transpired just yet. Enjoy the shit show as it kind of continues at the moment. But if you're Yoon from Ambush, you really have no right to say this because your collection, your brand is probably the brand that would probably suffer the most from AI because it's not that creative and isn't that interesting. That's my opinion on that. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's flip and continue. The LVMH Prize finalists have been announced. And a lot of people are not happy. The LVMH Prize 2024 finalists have been announced, and a lot of people are not happy. I wonder if you can guess why. Yes, you guessed it, because everybody's white. Everybody in the finalists of the LVMH Prize has been, is basically somebody descending from Caucasian ancestry. And unfortunately for a lot of these people, they're also not that good. One of the people that I know, some of them I don't actually know, but one of the people that I'm kind of familiar with is this brand here called Hodakova, because I remember seeing it online and I'm thinking, oh, this looks like something Lotte Volkova would wear, and then going on her profile and see that they follow each other and they've got some posts with each other. So I'm not too sure if these girls are friends with Lotte Volkova, who used to be the former stylist at Vetements and Balenciaga, and now is doing stuff with Miu Miu and I think Marc Jacobs. She's also did stuff with Yeezy back in the day. I think a lot of her style is also stuff that Bianca Censori is doing now in terms of Ye's wife. She's kind of taken whatever she does, with the little kitten heels and the tights and shit, and kind of elevated it in her own kind of way. But the only brand I'm familiar with that I think with any kind of notoriety is Hodakova. And the other brand I thought that was pretty cool from this list only was this brand here called Marie Adam Leonard. It kind of reminds me of like, Phoebe Philo like flipping, what's the thing called, that Celine. It's kind of got that kind of vibe about it. So again, maybe not the most interesting original thing in the world, but still, it's hilarious. What is hilarious about this is that I'm not usually somebody to rag on about representation and diversity. I really don't give a fuck for the most part. But I find it hilarious how performative this whole LVMH Prize was. When the whole diversity drive thing happened with the black squares, and unfortunately in the wake of the unfortunate passing and death and murder actually of George Floyd, there was a lot of people basically, ringing the bell and the alarm of diversity and the lack of flipping inclusivity, the lack of just range and just interesting people working at these magazines and these brands, and people just not, some of the smaller people especially coming up not being highlighted. And a lot of brands, a lot of magazines, a lot of publications, a lot of prizes were basically going out of their way to say, hey, we're going to change things now, we're going to be more diverse, we're going to have different faces, we're going to make this thing be reflective of the fashion industry. Because one of the things that's annoying about fashion the diversity thing is annoying because for the most part, fashion is worn by everybody, right? It's not something that's only specific to a certain race or a certain creed or certain segment of the population. Everybody wears fashion to some certain extent. But in general, nowadays especially, fashion has become ubiquitous. It's become a worldwide thing. A lot of people are into it. A lot of people study it. And to have fashion be predominantly presented in a very Caucasian, white-facing way is almost insulting when you think of the global fashion world and the amount of people that buy it, especially high-end fashion. A lot of the buyers who are buying it aren't necessarily people that are making the stuff, aren't the people they're putting in the lookbooks and shit. So it kind of is a bit insulting to your intelligence and dismisses the work of people that have come before, the people who are sustaining the scene, the people that are talking about it. It's pretty nuts. Especially, I remember one of the things that kind of keyed my attention to it a lot, that kind of really brought it to home because I really wasn't thinking about it too much, was early Vetements. When Vetements first launched, Demna's first brand that's still legendary to this day, I was a bit annoyed because I used to thinking, hold on, when I was buying Vetements early on, first season stuff, I was fucking copying myself and shit and spending all my fucking retail wage on that shit. I would see people that look like me, and I'd only see Asian people wearing that shit early on, early doors. But then whenever you see the shows, it'd be all of these fucking white people, walking the shows. It'd be like, hold on. The only people that are wearing this stuff is people that look like me, Asian people, and fucking Kanye early on, right? And Rihanna maybe with the bomber jacket, the exaggerated one with the fucking stitches hanging at the back of it. So I would kind of get annoyed. And of course, over time, I think, Demna kind of got shamed into being more diverse and having more people, be representative of the brand and having different faces, different colors and creeds on it. But I almost thought forcing somebody to be diverse and be inclusive was also a bit lame. If they didn't want to do it from their own heart, and the fact that they've been shamed into doing it also wasn't really instructive, didn't really do much to kind of, change the narrative or to tell a different story. But when the whole, less forced diversity thing came in, I kind of was a fan of it. I didn't really mind it, just for the sake of, hey, if they're going to force it in, maybe this will lead to better change going forward. The funny thing about it is that now that we are so many years gone by now, so many years now have passed since the George Floyd thing, it feels like they've become more whitewashed. So they've now reverted back to form, which kind of makes you think the whole diversity thing was definitely a trend, was definitely momentary, and definitely something they didn't really believe in. Because if you go back to the other LVMH Prize finalists, you'll see as the years go back, the range of people is way more diverse. Look at this. So this is 2024 finalists, right? Very white based. You go back to 2023. Look at that. Yeah. You got a couple of diverse faces there. You go back to the 2022 list, a bit more diverse here. You go back to the 2021, a bit more diverse. And then you go back to 2020, more diverse. So as the years have progressed and we got further away from the George Floyd tragedy, these brands, these prizes have decided, let's go back to what we know. Let's go back to presenting this white face of fashion, this one way of kind of doing fashion, this one representation. And let's forget all this diverse people, all these people from all these different walks of life who kind of add to the tapestry, to the global language that is fucking fashion. Let's just present it in one fucking way. It's kind of wild if you think about it. Like the contrast to go from this to that is pretty insane, and kind of proves to you that their hearts were never really in it. They were just doing it to kind of, avoid being called out online. They didn't really kind of believe that it was important to kind of rewrite or to kind of give fashion a different face. And now that no one's looking, LVMH Prize has gone back to being whitewashed. So, big up the finalists anyway, regardless. You got Obuero, Duran Latnik, Hodkova, Marie Adam Lienhardt. You got Niccolo Pasqualetti. You got someone called Paolo Carazana. You got Pauline Dujancourt, and you got Standing Ground. Big up them anyway for being in the final. It's not their fault they got put in the final list. It kind of is what it is, but it is kind of wild to see the contrast of how it once was to how it is now. It is kind of wild. It is kind of wild. But again, big up the finalists, and maybe another reflection of like, maybe waiting for people to acknowledge you and stuff isn't probably the way to go. Connect with your fans, kind of go from there. Moving on from that one, let's also talk a little bit about the Air Jordan 4 Industrial Blues. I know a lot of people haven't been too happy about the Industrial Blues because they don't really look like the military blues. The original Jordan 4 military blues, the hue of blue was a bit lighter. I probably prefer that a little bit better, I'm not gonna lie. But I do actually like when retros come out, I'm not gonna lie, I don't actually mind when they decide to change the hue of the color slightly, just to kind of make it a bit different, because for me as a sneaker buyer, quote unquote collector, it's easier to differentiate based on the color of the hue, because sometimes the shapes are similar. But in this particular one, what's really funny about it, interesting, is that essentially, from what I can remember, the Air Jordan SB, the Nike Air Jordan SB, the Pine one, was the first time Jordan decided to basically adopt a reimagined Air Force One shape. So that Nike Jordan 4 SB Pine Green, this one of my favorite, shoes of the last year or so, an amazing colorway, very, very, very popular. This particular shoe has been a shoe that they built from the original last of the Jordan from the 80s. So it's got that nice roundy, it's got that nice kind of boxy type of shape. I'm not too sure if you kind of understand what I mean, but the shape is fucking delightful. It's got this nice suede mud guard. It's got the Nike SB here, obviously there on the back of the heel, and it just looks fucking supreme. And I remember them saying back in the day when this released, they were like, oh, we're actually going to make all Jordan 4s to be this shape going forward. So even the non-SB ones will have this type of shape. So for me personally, even though the industrial blues aren't the same as the military blues, the fact that they have this particular shape, which is the same as the pine green, I'm really happy about. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like it. And obviously you got the addition of a bit more of a suede kind of hit on the front. So these are Jordans. These are not of the SBs. I think the SBs have a different insole. I think there's more of a thicker, there's more thickness on the mudguard here with the suede to help you when you're flipping on your board and shit. So it's a little bit different when it comes to materialing. But I think overall they've done a good job with these industrial blues. So mostly white on the upper. You got the nice kind of off-white new bucket grey mudguard on the front. On the front of the fucking shoe itself, you got this nice industrial blue hit here on the midsole. Maybe the quality of it isn't the greatest. Looking at the picture here, hypebeast, there's a bit of gaps there with the white, with the bleed on there, but I'm sure you can touch them up a little bit and they'll look okay. But again, just look at the shape. The shape is the most important thing for me. That shape is way more worth it. Like, I think these will probably end up being £180 or something, but I think that is way more worth it to purchase than some of the retros they're putting out, the banana foot one, especially because Jordan 4s are my favorite sneaker of all time. I think they're definitely my top three. I think my top three sneakers of all time, especially when it comes to Nike, have to be the Nike Air Max 90 infrared, the Air Force One white on white Air Force One low, and of course the Jordan 4 breads. Those are definitely my top 4 shoes of all time if I had to kind of say the shoes I kind of like. So let's go Nike Air Max 90 infrared. That's definitely my number one shoe of all time, I'd have to say. In terms of a sneaker, I've got great memories of wearing this shoe back in the day. And then I'd say, Nike Air Force One low white, white on white, while going with that one, classic. You can't really go wrong with those, right? While going with those. And then of course the Air Jordan 4. Actually, let me get back on those on screen so you can see that. And then of course you got the Air Jordan 4 bread, right? For me, these are my top 3 shoes of all time, definitely, if I had to kind of pick. And now that we got this reimagined shape, I'm happy about it, because even on foot, look at these reimagined, how they look differently on foot compared to these, basically. So this is a retro that I had. You see how funny that, I don't know if you can see if that makes sense to you, but see how funny this toe box looks. Almost looks a bit like bent, a bit like banana-y, too flat on here. But when you see the reimagined ones, like the ones here, they've got a bit more of a flatter silhouette. They're a bit more, they've got more of a point towards the front. They look a bit more angular, they got a bit more of a, so the shape is just a little bit more substantial. So I've always been a big fan of those type of things. So Jordan 4 military blues, I fucking love them. I think they look fucking supreme. Love the look of them, love the hit, love how this a darker hue, because I remember the original military blues are a bit lighter, but I actually don't mind these. I think they look fucking fantastic. I think they're releasing this week, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they're releasing this week, May 4th. Available on the sneakers app for $215. If you're already on them, Wagwan. If you're already on them, Wagwan. Industrial blue Jordan 4s, absolutely phenomenal. I love the shoe. I've always loved the shoe. It's fucking fantastic. Check it out if you haven't already. Make sure you check it out if you haven't already. Make sure you check it out if you haven't already. All right, moving on from that one, we got these Courtesy of Street Night News or Street Night Live, actually, sorry, on Twitter. So big up that account. Look at these monstrosities. GH Bass Mary Jane Brogues. I have a pair of GH Bass loafers. Funnily enough, one of the most legendary stories of my stream, especially the random show, is the story of me getting into a fight with somebody in the street and wearing a pair of loafers like these and basically slipping all over the floor as I'm trying to throw a punch. So these are very well known to me. But now, if you're not looking at them, they're essentially the same loafer, the same brogue tassel loafer type that you know and love. But now they've made them into Mary Janes. And Mary Janes are, you know, the quintessential hot girl shoe of the moment with the kind of exposed bit at the front with a nice big strap on the top of it. So you're meant to wear these, you know, with sand socks and stuff and make you look a little bit, you know, a little bit dandy-ish. But I don't know about these. I'm not too sure if I like them. I kind of would prefer, these are kind of like a cheat way. If you're too scared and you think you might look like a bunch of sticks wearing a pair of Mary Janes as a straight dude, right? You're a bit kind of conscious of it. I'll show you what Mary Janes are meant to look like, actually. I'm sure most of you are aware what Mary Janes are meant to look like, but Mary Janes are essentially, you know, this style of a shoe, which is essentially what you'd call it, you'd kind of call it like a pump with a heel and a strap at the top. That's basically this type of style that you kind of revert to it as. So they've taken this inspiration of a Mary Jane and then applied it to a brogue to make it more broy, right? To kind of make the boys comfortable enough to wear it so they're not scared and they don't think, you know, they look like a bunch of sticks. But I'd actually prefer if they just did a classic Mary Jane and kind of, you know, challenge people to kind of get a little bit risque with their clothes as opposed to just doing the easy option and going with the kind of tassel loafer, which is kind of easy to kind of make it work. And again, interesting shoe, interesting hybrid. It probably works better on this tassel loafer, on this type of shape, because, you know, the shape is quite sleek and it's definitely something that maybe lends itself a little bit more to like a ballet pump or a ballet flat. But in general, you know, it just looks a bit odd, looks a bit off, not gonna lie. It kind of reminds me, I think I dubbed these online as the passion for fashion ones. This is the type of shoe, if you see a guy wearing this type of shoe, they're definitely involved in fashion. They definitely know what a tabby is. They definitely know who Yohji Yamamoto is. They definitely know who founded Dover Street Market. They definitely have an idea on collections. They definitely style themselves in a particular way. They definitely have an interest or a hope, a dream of working in fashion. That's why I dubbed these the passion for fashion ones. But, you know, not too sure if I'm really feeling them, to be fair, especially with some of the dots here on the front design. But that is the GH Bass Mary Jane style shoe that they're trying to put out and make something be there. But I'm not really for them, I'm not going to lie. Moving on, we got these post-archive faction, PAF, have a collaboration with On Running. I've not really liked On Running, and I've got to be honest, my hate for On Running has been for the people that I've seen wearing On Running shoes. Similar to, I think, to Metcons. I think if you're a hater of CrossFit, the thing that you hate the most probably is seeing people with Metcons on, who kind of act like they're athletes. They kind of act like they're going to the fucking CrossFit Opens. It's fucking lame. And when you see people wearing On Running shoes, they walk around as if like they've just come back from a marathon or from like a 10K, and really they've just gone to a local shop to go buy some fucking groceries. So I think On Running, I've had an issue with them, mostly because the people wearing them are flipping lame. But I have to be honest, this collaboration, this post-archive faction collaboration with On Running is really fucking cool. Really fucking cool. So obviously you got the clothing and you got the shoe itself. Looks really cool. I'm not really a fan of like lifestyle running shit. I feel like a lot of the lifestyle streetwear aesthetic running stuff is a bit lame, because most people that wear running clothes go out to run. They don't go out to stunt. It just feels a bit all-worded to kind of try and mix the both of them and try and make running to be a subculture or a genre. It's just a bit lame. Make performance wear that obviously looks cool that you can wear, and it's not going to make you look like you're legitimately running a marathon, and it kind of maybe looks a bit more relaxed. But the idea of, you know, people going out wearing this type of shit is kind of lame to me. But it is really cool. The clothes look amazing. The lookbook makes you want to buy them instantly. You have these amazing pants with this huge zip on the side that almost allows the pants to kind of flare out. As you guys know, with PAF, they have this weird cut where they kind of cut the seams around the leg, so when the zip opens, it kind of makes the pant itself spread around the shoes. So you have this weird quasi boot cut, slim cut type of cut going on in the trousers, if you kind of get what I mean. So they look really fucking amazing. Obviously, you've got loads of perforation hits here around the pocket to help with the you know, with the air and whatnot going in and out of your body as you're sweating and shit. You got these really nice colors. You got these really nice leggings, really nice tops, and just a lookbook that kind of makes you want to run, makes you want to jump and run around, get active, and wear this shit, right? It looks fucking fantastic. I'd wear everything in here. You've also got this amazing, I don't know what this is all about, by the way. You got this cool hood type thing. I'm not sure if this is pumped up, but on this picture here, which is picture number, I think picture number 7, is it 7? Yeah, picture number 7. You got this amazing hood inside of the jacket. It looks like it's inflatable, that's kind of wrapped around the runner's head. It looks pretty cool. You got the sleeves on the jacket that kind of go over your finger, which I really like. So when you're running, obviously you got the paneling there. You got the fucking zip on the side of the trousers. Again, the trousers, tailoring wise, when it comes to what you call it, post archive faction, they always make incredible pants and tracksuits and shit. Very underrated in that respect. Same goes for this look here. I love the undershirt here. I love the paneling, love the little perforation hits and the little air gaps in there so you don't sweat too much. The nice materialing as well looks fucking great. We love it all. Again, great picture, and it features models who look like they actually run as well. Nice form there, running on his balls of his toes, and obviously he's heel slapping his bum. But the best thing about this collaboration isn't the clothes, it's definitely the shoes. Look at these fucking shoes. These are allegedly, I think they're called like Cloudburst. No, I think they're called Cloudmaster 2s. So it's a collaboration with Path, and they've taken the on-running silhouette and they've kind of skewed it to make it look like a footscape. So from the top, look at how it looks. From the top, it kind of has this weird type of, you know, almost twisted eyes stay eyelet type of design. So when you tie them up, I think there's actually a picture here somewhere. When you tie them up, they kind of almost look, I think I should get them on here actually from the Street Night News. You'll see a picture of somebody actually wearing them. They look fucking cool when they're actually on. So that picture of them actually from the top here looks like that. But then when somebody's actually wearing them, look what they look like when they've got a bit of wear on them, courtesy of Street Night News. Look at that. So when you wear them, they kind of have this weird kind of like splayed rounded design. You've got this amazing big area here in the front that's almost mixed with mesh. I don't know what else materials on there. And of course the laces kind of make the shoe kind of fold within itself. Like, I think that just looks like a really cool design. So you can't really see it too tough on this particular picture, but you can definitely see it on this picture where they've kind of been worn in. So these Cloudmasters are fucking hard. I love them. I definitely wear the fuck out of these. So you got the on running thing there. You got the nice tread at the bottom. They're also available in the all black colorway, and they look fucking fantastic. So far, no date on release. I think the last thing I saw was like end of May, but we haven't got a concrete date yet when they're going to be releasing. But these are definitely some of the hardest on running shoes I've seen. And again, I'm a big hater of on running, but I think these are really fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie, I really fucking like these. So big up on running. Again, no date on release just yet. It says here, stay tuned for updates as we expect both Cloudmaster 2 colorways to land on shelves in the weeks to come. The price tag is going to be $250. Again, we got some images here from, I guess, the activation or studio or showroom event that they had in Paris, featuring some of the post-archive faction stuff with the on-running collaboration. Nice screens. You got all the collections available there on the racks. I wonder if I think they got the shoes actually worn. That's actually cool. I quite like that actually. This is a picture of the studio that the showroom, I guess, where they're showing off the collaboration. They have a rack full of the on running and Path shoes and clothes, and at the bottom they have the shoes. And from what I can see, looking from this far, it looks like both shoes have been worn. I like that they're showing what they look like when they're worn and stuff. I quite like that in running shoes. I think when it's running shoes, I think having the shoes look brand new kind of defeats the purpose of running shoes, because you're gonna fucking beat them. So I quite like that they have the shoes there worn at the bottom. It kind of looks cool, I'm not going to lie. So I actually would love to get a pair of these. I'm not gonna lie, these look really fucking cool. And I kind of like how the top of them kind of reminds me of a footscape. Not sure if you guys are familiar with footscapes, but that top of the shoe kind of reminds me of a Nike footscape. So it's got a Nike footscape type of design at the top, which makes sense considering these guys are, you know, Asian dudes with, you know, pristine, immense knowledge of fucking shoes and sneakers and stuff from back in the day. But that top bit kind of reminds me of a Footscape. Not too sure if you guys see the vision here, but this kind of reminds me a little bit of a Footscape design on the top, on the front, or the top of the shoe. Where's the top? Let me see if I can find top. Yeah, there's a top kind of here. You can kind of see on the Footscape woven. It's kind of got that almost like twisted, splayed kind of thing. But I like how the actual eyelets, or the actual, you know, where the laces are kind of being tied up here, they're actually not that twisted. It's actually this section here that makes them look like it's warped. This section here around the front that kind of gives it this interesting shape here that kind of makes it look twisted, but the actual laces themselves are kind of dead center. But they do remind me a lot of Footscapes, and woven ones especially, with the kind of laces on the side. So I kind of like that. I'm not going to lie, I really do like that. So big up On Running. I'll definitely try and get a pair for myself. $245 is a bit pricey, don't get me wrong, for running shoes, or $240 exactly, but I think these are probably worth it, especially considering the collaboration and the level of quality you're probably going to get from these. So big up On Running, big up Blood Clot On Running. We love to see it. We definitely love to see it. Moving on from that one, we have this particular shoe again, courtesy of New Balance and Street Night Live again. I'm not too sure if these are ever going to come out. I'm not too sure what the deal is. I've been Googling around to find more information, but I couldn't find them. But they look pretty sick. So this is a New Balance MO650. And from what I can see here, it features a very sleek and low midsole. I don't think you really see these too often. So usually New Balance shoes have very thick midsoles and outsoles, or not very thick, but kind of substantial looking midsoles and outsoles. And this particular New Balance has more of a sleeker kind of look to it. It looks more like a walking shoe type of thing. It doesn't really strike me as something that you would kind of, you know, see in a New Balance shoe. If anything, it kind of reminds me of a sole swap. It kind of, I don't know if you guys remember the era when people would buy shoes and they purposely sole swap them. So you'd buy an Air Max one, you'd put a different sole on the bottom just to kind of give it a different silhouette, different look. So you kind of got a regular New Balance kind of upper, but then you've got this more of a, what do you call this, a walking shoe, off-road shoe, maybe more of a trekking shoe type of midsole going on here. Less of a midsole really, more so of an outsole. It feels like it's a bit of a zero drop, so basically your foot is kind of, you know, flat along the ground here with very little elevation on the heel or the midfoot essentially. And I quite like the design, I'm not gonna lie, especially with the brown colorway and obviously some of the brown hits on the laces and the mesh as well. You kind of got a really good outdoorsy type of vibe going on here. Looking at the actual construction, so you got some nubuck here, you got some suede, you got some mesh, and you got some black hits as well. I can definitely see these being a good collaboration. I like the overstitch here detail on the front of the toe box as well. And again, I really like them. They look very, for lack of a better term, robust. And I think the outsole being this very flat, minimal type of thing is quite refreshing, especially when you think about some of the normal New Balance midsoles and outsoles. I think these look pretty cool. I really fucking like these, I'm not gonna lie. Unfortunately, again, no real details on when these are gonna release. As Street Night Live says, this is the MO650. No idea when they're gonna come out, if they're gonna come out. They also kind of remind me a little bit of the Miu Miu New Balances that also released that almost minimal type of outsole and midsole type of thing going on, which is again not similar to what New Balance has done in the past. But I really like these. I really fucking like these. Hope they come out soon. Hope we get more information and we see more colorways. But so far, the New Balance MO650 is one of my favorites I've seen so far. I'm not gonna lie. I really do enjoy that shape. I really flipping do enjoy that shape. What else I wanted to talk about here before I leave you guys? Oh yeah, let's talk about these. So I'm sure some of you guys have seen these as well. The Adidas Sambas have been kind of run into the ground. They've been kind of, you know, done to death. They've been kind of rinsed. But I'm not gonna lie, I think this might be one of my favorite non-Wells Bonner adidas Samba, because I think adidas Sambas have been done only really well by Wells Bonner and maybe Jason Deal, and maybe at a stretch Jound with some of their classic, you know, flips on like the classic colorways with nicer materials. But I really like this particular adidas Samba, designed by former Yeezy designer Dingyun Zhang. So this guy used to design for Yeezy back in the day. I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with him on Instagram. He does those amazing big coats with those crazy hoods. I'm sure some of you guys have seen these kind of jackets that he used to put out back in the day. I'm not too sure if he still makes them anymore, but I think he went to St. Martin's also, the same college that I went to study fashion and shit. So he's very well known, and he makes these amazing jackets that he used to help design for Yeezy and himself, right? These type of jackets here, as I'm sure most of you guys have seen, this blue particular one with this great hood that he's always been known for. This almost like spaceship, you know, this almost astronaut-esque type of style thing he did back in the day. So this is that guy, right? What's his name? Dingyun Zhang. So he's now going out to do his own thing, carving out his own lane, being a designer and shit. And his first sort of foray out there to kind of, you know, announce himself is this amazing collaboration that he's done with Adidas, right? It's fucking cool. So it's on an Adidas Samba, releasing on the 10th of May. Again, Adidas Sambas have been rinsed to death, but I think this is a really cool flip and a really cool iteration of it, especially when you think of some of the designs that he's done. It kind of does look similar to a lot of the jackets he's put out there in the past. So a lot of the design codes that you'll kind of know him from are being kind of filtered in on this particular Adidas Samba. Some of the quilting, some of the different materials and shit, the exaggeration on the collar here looks really cool. I think this midsection here that almost looks patent leather, almost like translucent, which just shows what's going on here. It's really, really cool. It's all black with, I think, is it suede maybe, counter on the mid-toe, on the toe box, on the back. I'm not really too sure, but I love it. Completely triple black. And this is probably harder to get right because it's just all black. I think a lot of people kind of, you know, are able to kind of pimp out or make their collaborations look a little bit more interesting with, you know, adding different bits of color and different paneling, but just making it totally black and also making it look appealing is really difficult to do, and he's actually done that. So big up Dingyun for doing that. These look fucking cool. I fucking love these. We got some more pictures here as well, courtesy of Over and Under on Instagram, on Twitter. So big up Over and Under on my favorite accounts. And again, look how different they look in person. The pattern on the midsole, on the midsection anyway, it almost looks like it's wet. You know what I mean? I love that texture. It almost looks translucent as well. You got the black on black here on the upper, different materials down the collar. I'm not sure if that's satin with some foam on the inside. I'm not too sure what that is, but I love that exaggerated kind of collar design also. And we got some extra pictures here courtesy of Adidas, of hypebeast as well, that features some more, so you can see what it looks like. And I think a short interview as well that he did as well with some things as well. Let me actually load that one up because I think I want to actually see what he actually said regarding the collaboration itself. But he's got a short interview here he did with hypebeast where he sort of kind of details exactly why he did what he did. So let's get this up on here. Bear with me a second as I fucking find it. Let's do this. Let's do that. So this is the interview that he did with hypebeast, where he talks about it. He does, okay, what is saying hypebeast? Oh, look at his other pictures too. The fucking zoom in here, the zoom in on the fucking shoes on the tongue looks fucking beautiful. I love these. Look at the tongue there. That looks fucking beautiful. I really do love these. He looks really fucking nice. And I love that he added flat laces on them too, not the round laces. You got a bit of foam here. I'm not too sure what the material is on the collar, but that's pretty cool. All black design. The midsole looks great. Exaggerated collar. Again, reminds me of some of the jackets he's done in the past with these exaggerated hoods and shit. So a lot of nice, interesting codes relayed back onto the shoes again. So big up him. On the interview, courtesy of hypebeast, they ask him, what does a collaboration mean to you? He says, I've had an interest in fashion since I was a child, or sneakers, sorry. Before I could get my hands on shoes, I could make sketches of them. I used to create collectible sneaker trading cards modeled after popular silhouettes all the time. Many of those shoes were made by Adidas, so its partnership as being my first footwear release really feels like a dream come true. To be fair, I'm surprised Nike didn't jump on him. Considering his Yeezy connections, considering how futuristic all his shitwear is, Nike should have fucking jumped on him. I'm not gonna lie, it's fucking criminal they didn't. I know he did a collaboration with Marnie right back in the day, but he should have been working with fucking Yeezy. Because, sorry, with Nike, especially after Nike got let go of fucking Kanye. I'm surprised they didn't try and tap him up. Again, Nike are not really on the ball anymore back as they were in the past, isn't it? Because some of the stuff he's done with Yeezy has been fucking fantastic. The fact that they never really helped him with that is a bit weird, but you know, what can we do? Oh, there's more pictures here. There's a lot of people wearing them too. Oh, this picture makes him look fucking cool. Let's see this. Let's see these pictures, courtesy of sneakernews.com. Nice, with some white pants and white socks. They look fucking phenomenal. These look so hard. I really fucking like these. I'm definitely gonna try and get a pair. Look at the top as well. They kind of looks translucent, almost patent leatherish. The top of that shoe, especially with the patent and the mix with the black. So yeah, this is the best thing they've done with adidas Sambas, you know, since Wells Bonner, because she's been absolutely killing it with their collaboration. So that's pretty cool. Let's go back to the interview. What was the first adidas shoe that caught your attention? It was a Tracy McGrady T-Mac 5s in 2006. That was the first very pivotal year for me. I was hooked by that shoe's unique usage of pattern leather, and it was the first time that I had been wooden panels on the basketball shoe. That silhouette had a very strong influence on my design codes. Classic basketball sneakers, skate styles heavily informed my later works, and I think adidas played a big role in shaping my aesthetic. Oh really? Let's see these. I'd never heard of these Tracy McGrady T-Mac 5s. What do these fucking look like? What's a Tracy McGrady T-Mac? Okay, oof. These are absolutely awful, innit? These are the shoes that inspired his design language. Fair play. They look fucking horrendous, but they do look like a shoe. Not to be that guy, but they do look like a shoe that Asian kids that play basketball would love. You know, there's a particular breed of Asian dudes that play basketball that love these type of shoes. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. So I'm not surprised that he loves them, but they look so fucking ugly. God damn, they look fucking ugly. Let's continue. I was never actually able to buy the T-Mac 5s though. The first adidas shoe I got my hands on were kid size 1-1 Intelligence 2007. The shoe itself had plus and minus buttons on the side of the design that were able to adjust the midsole's cushioning. It continues here. Did you wear Sambas at all? Yes, this question makes me instantly flash back to my days of boarding school in UK. We had a strict uniform. You weren't allowed to wear sneakers, but I'd wear all black Sambas anyway because they blended in well and I pretty much got away with it. Continue again. What did you discover while visiting adidas archives in Beijing and in Herzegovina? Wherever that place is, and how did your trip influence your design process? I was always been driven by Adidas's innovation, and it was very inspiring to see the history of the archives. We were able to be very hands-on with the models, and I learned how certain materials age over time. It was exciting to think about how we could implement new ideas into what already existed. Okay. Why did you decide to remake the Samba? We have an option to tackle other silhouettes, but the Samba's history in the youth is subculture, coupled with the influence of sports and skateboarding, sparked a strong curiosity. It's a good decision too, because he's well known to me because I'm, you know, balls deep in all this shit. But I think to the wider public, he's still probably unknown. So to announce himself design wise and to kind of maybe spark other collaborations, it's actually smart to go with the Samba because it's a silhouette everyone's wearing now. It's in the cultural zeitgeist. It's familiar shape. Everyone's, you know, jumping on it. So just include another one out there. Someone buy it, especially in an all black silhouette. It's an easy cop. So it's a smart decision to go for these instead of going for maybe a trickier model that people are probably not that familiar with, coupled with not being that familiar with the brand. It's going to be a harder sell. But the Samba is a easier sell, even if you are unknown or not that, you know, on the come up. It continues. How did you put your personal spin on a silhouette? Everyone knows without getting too far away from the ethos. For me, it was always really about staying true to the brand's ethos. Say the word ethos again. Exaggerate design details like the puffed up collar and the shiny finishes. These ding touches were very important to me. I wanted to accentuate the Samba with my own perspective, not rewrite its story. What did the production of the process look like to you? I flew to Germany with my mother and we designed a shoe over a few rounds of ideation meetings at Adidas headquarters. Their team also came to my studio in Shanghai, where we conducted focus group sessions to troubleshoot any design flaws and implement changes until we got the result we were looking for. Right, he went to Germany with his mum. That's kind of cute. I like that. You've yet to put out a namesake shoe, but you're the brain behind some of Yeezy's most beloved silhouettes. How did your process of the collaboration differ from the time at Yeezy? The idea, okay, what did he help design at Yeezy? What shoe did he help design? I'm assuming maybe one of those shoes I saw that was featured on here, right? I wonder what he designed at Yeezy. Let's see, what shoe did he do? Oh, the 700. Okay, he helped to okay. He maybe helped design one of these. Maybe this is why they're showing us the Wave Runner, the original 700. Did he help design this? Okay, maybe he designed an element of these shoes, and maybe some other ones that probably didn't make it, or maybe the slide as well. That's pretty cool if he did help design these. Let's see what they say here on this website, Concept Kicks. What did he do at Yeezy? Did he actually help design those? Is that actually true? Could you tell us your favorite design shoes, your favorite Yeezy shoes of all time? Air Yeezy 2s, okay, cool. What other shoe did he design for Yeezy? Let's touch on Kanye briefly. Has it been balanced a desire? Designing with Kanye was a free, limitless experience. I don't feel any pressure to design in any way. That wasn't true to myself. He gave me the liberty and the responsibility to express myself, and working with him was a great experience. The appreciation for my taste it was how Kanye, Steven Smith, and I worked together to design the 700s. Wow. He designs the Yeezy 7. This is my favorite Yeezy of all time. He designed the fucking 700s. That's fucking cool. Big up Ding. What a fucking beast. One of my favorite Yeezys of all time he helped design. No wonder I like those Sambas then. No wonder I fucking love the Sambas. It makes sense why I love these fucking shoes, doesn't it? Let's continue here. The idea of making a shoe was like building a rocket ship to me when I was younger, but after working at Yeezy and building silhouette step by step, my perspective widened to see innovative possibilities within the footwear space. With this collaboration, the process of taking an original sketch and placing a product in the market was pretty similar, because we were also working with adidas at the time. What was your favorite design feature on the shoe? I really like the heel guard, which is inspired by David Beckham football shoe called the Predator. Oh yeah, true. Is that what it's inspired by? That is fucking sick. So the back of the collar is inspired by this. That's pretty fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie. Ah, okay. Yeah, I see it. I see it. This materialing here on the back of the Adidas Predator, the classic David Beckham one from back in the day, the Absolute Predator. The same lines that are featured on the back of that heel are featured on that fucking shoe. Wow. Big up him, bro. That's fucking cool. That is really fucking cool. Okay, I see what he did there. I see what he did there. I like it. I fucking like it. Again, release date. When we got release date here before we end, and I'll stop coming over these shoes because they don't really matter what they are. The release date is scheduled for May the 10th. At select retailers unconfirmed. Registration opens on May 4th at 10 a.m. CET for the Dingyun Zhang Sambas. Check those out. Fucking cool. I love everything about them. They look fucking beautiful. They really, really do look absolutely beautiful. They look absolutely beautiful. Okay, my friends, that's it. I'm gonna end now. I'm gonna quickly check over because I see some alerts here on Streamlabs. So I'm gonna read out some of these alerts and then I'm gonna zip off. I have to go to the gym once again. So let's see some whatever people might have sent here courtesy of Streamlabs, and then I'm going to head off and do what needs to be done. So big up the two. Oh, so big up Assad, big up, appreciate you, my friend. Assad said as follows: AZ, I noticed a new 50 Cent G Unit look lately. Yeah. Of course. You know how it is. 50 Cent G Unit look is fucking hilarious. Big up Assad Aziz. And another one says here, Ag, you gotta mix that Bad Bitty by JP. What's JP? What are you talking about, brother? Let me know in the stream chat. What's JP? Who's that Bad Bitty JP? Who's that Bad Bitty JP, brother? What you talking about? Who's that? Who's that Bad Bitty JP? What are you talking about? Are you talking about Jordan Peterson or somebody else? Who you talking about in that respect? Let me know down below in the stream if you're still here. If you're not still here, I'm gonna zip off and I'm gonna play my tune today before I leave. So my tune today before I leave has to be a song from Len's new album called Cobalt. So much more. Len is one of our premier quote unquote underground, not really underground artist blowing up here in London or in the UK specifically. He's starting to get a lot of love overseas as well. Generally just a very interesting artist, very interesting sound, different type of lyricism, definitely not anywhere close to anything you would kind of be familiar with when it comes to UK, in terms of what you're probably familiar with in terms of the regular UK rap and UK drill. It's nowhere near that. It's more similar to what you may expect from, you know, people of your Opium. Some people insultingly call these guys UK Opium. I don't think that's really fair. The sound is completely different. It's way more ephemeral, it's way more light, it's way more fun, it's way more experimental, it's way more alternative. It's just different. It's not similar to Opium whatsoever, in my personal opinion. But regardless, Len has a new album out called Cobalt, So Much More. Check it out. It's only like 12 tracks long, but it's a fucking banger. Loads of fucking slaps on here, and I'm gonna play you one of my favorite tracks on here. There's a couple I really like though. I'm gonna play what should I play? Because I really like Hot and Cold with BXKX. I also like Right Hand. I also like Every Day. Let's play Tell Something. Let's play Tell Me Something first, featuring Co-Size. Let's play Tell Something featuring Co-Size. Big up fucking Len. Amazing fucking album. Really fucking love it. Maybe not as good as Legoland. Legoland is still, you know, his magnus opus, but I feel like Cobalt is definitely up there. So my tune today is gonna be Len. The track is Tell Me Something featuring Co-Size. Check it out. It's fucking phenomenal. I love everything about it. Big up, big up, big up Len. And thank you for checking out the Agostinho Zinga show. And I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Thank you for chilling. Peace out.